Good morning from Robertsdale UMC. I'm Pastor Jonathan, and it is so good to be with you for this daily Devo. Today we're going to do something different than what we've been doing the past several days, and we're going to move out of 2 Corinthians because I have a verse or two I want to share from the book of 2 Timothy. And the reason for doing this is because I'm learning that in life we make time for what's necessary and what's most important, and sometimes that means changing plans. So today is a day that I have not been looking forward to because today is the day of my father's memorial service. And as I was praying about this daily Devo, I am still continuing my devotional reading of 2 Corinthians, but I wanted to share a verse today that I thought was applicable as we look forward to remembering my dad this afternoon. These are strange times that we live in. These daily Devos are really to try to connect with you as members of Robertsdale UMC and others of you who are connecting from outside, and we're so grateful and excited about that. In some ways, this is allowing us more connectivity, at least in one format. But we're doing a memorial service for my dad this afternoon that's going to be live on the Facebook page of Spanish Fort UMC. I'm also going to be sharing it to my page, but as we think about my dad and remember him today, a memory came to my mind yesterday evening, and that is that Dad used to run. He was a runner for a long time, and he had a best friend named Charlie Brown that sometimes he would run with, and I would remember Charlie coming over, and I would be playing out in the yard or something, and Dad and Charlie would have gone for a run, and they had this habit of finishing their run the same way every time. Now, my dad was not built for, short-term fast running. I forget what that's called, sprinting. He wasn't built like a sprinter. He was more of a long-distance guy. But he and Charlie would always change their pace at the end because what they wanted was as soon as they knew they were going to come into view of the house or neighbors or family outside, they wanted to be running as fast as they physically could. So they would sprint to the finish. I would see them turn around the house at the end of the street, and they would be just absolutely booking it. I mean, as fast as their bodies would allow them, and they would sprint to the front of the house. And this was their way of trying to say, yeah, we've been running this fast the whole time, which of course everybody knew they hadn't. But they did this because they believed in finishing strong. And that's part of my dad's legacy is living as if every day was his last, running or walking as if it was his last one, and doing it to the full. And one of the verses that my brothers and I have been reflecting on over these past couple of weeks is 2 Timothy verses 7 and 8. And I just want to share this with you. It's a very simple thought for the day. But it says, as Paul writes this letter to Timothy and starts to conclude this letter, he says in verses 7 and 8 of 2 Timothy, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. I know this may sound cliche, it may sound trite, but I need to be reminded of this every day, and perhaps you do too. We have no idea when Jesus is coming back. We have no idea when we're going to take our last breath. None of us know the days marked out for us in the book of the Lord, as the psalmist declares, but he does. None of us knows when our last conversation may happen or our last day will be lived. And so my encouragement for you, brother and sister, is always sprint to the finish. I think there's a balance to be had of wearing ourselves out and overdoing things, or trying to run at such a pace that it's sustainable, but we never really push through to do all that we're called to do and make priorities and time for the things that are important. So my encouragement today and every day after this is live as if it's your last. Talk to the person in front of you as if they are the most important person, because in that moment they are. If you haven't told a loved one that you love them, let today be the day. If you haven't made time for God in the way that you want to, and I'm not saying to try to go beyond some level of spirituality that you are, but just to pray, just to be honest with God about where you are in your relationship with Him, just to ask questions and venture the risk that He might answer. Whatever it is you need to make time for, don't put it off another day. Do it today. You never know when it's going to be your last. Finish strong. This is Pastor Jonathan of Robertsdale UMC. God bless you today. I wish you grace and peace, and see you soon.